Hello and welcome to today's 5-Minute Friday. I run these sessions as an opportunity to share really interesting thoughts and ideas with the wider HR and business community. And for decades, anxiety and mental health issues have been on the rise. And it feels like the business world is starting to understand the seriousness of this issue and that they have a role in solving it. And Yulia, from our discussions, I believe that you have a really unique perspective that you've learned from your time as a commercial leader and well-being leader at John Lewis, and more recently in academia, studying psychology and neuroscience of mental health at King's College London. So, Yulia, welcome, and tell me, why do you think we're seeing this trend in mental health even before COVID?
Well, obviously, COVID exacerbated all these trends or accelerated them, but I believe there are more fundamental issues with how we structure the modern workplace. Because burnout, if you think about it, it's being added as a diagnosis a couple of years ago, and it is a hot topic now in academic journals. But the challenge is that while there is a recognition that something is not quite right, the solution is often thought sort of in what people can do differently and what people need to do personally, rather than viewing it as a systemic issue. And resilience in this context is very much about personal resilience and rarely about teams and relationships with managers and also amongst peers. But there was an interesting research that I came across that was done in 2015, and the finding was that and it was published in HBR, and it cited that 75% of people said that their main source of resilience during at work was co-workers, and it was politics, managing strained relationships. And most recent research shows that the issues are more unsustainable workload, lack of control, lack of gratitude, lack of community support. But it's more, if you step back and think about it, it's a lot of it is due to lack of communication or constructive dialogue between employees and the company. And that's what leads to this vicious cycle.
So this is fascinating because you're right. Effectively, this is turning the thinking on its head. So instead of it being about the challenges that an individual has, it's about potentially the challenges that are created by the work environment or the lack of trying to prevent the issues being caused by within the work. So, I guess the question is, what do we do now?
Well, we can take it as an opportunity to rethink and actually reset the workplace in a sustainable, human-friendly way. And arguably, we have a fantastic opportunity now that, hopefully we're coming out of the crisis. But there always be, and there are few, not many companies which think about their businesses with a very long-term view, and they think about sustainable work model. And my favorite example, you probably come across it, Chris, it's Basecamp. And the founders of the company wrote a book which called It Doesn't Have to Be Crazy at Work. It was almost a challenge to the conventional notion that you have to work this crazy hours to do whatever to remain competitive. And they actually refuted that. But there are others. So there's definitely an opportunity, and it's possible to do.
And what I love about this conversation is that so many people are thinking right now about what does our future work model look like? How do we create an environment that supports a culture and ways of collaboration and a great experience? And so for anybody who's listening to this, who is thinking about what their future work model is like, what advice would you have for them?
What I hear from many companies, it's that crisis forced them to either reconnect strongly with their purpose, or in some instances refresh their purpose, because it's quite easy to lose sight of your, longer term purpose while pursuing immediate objectives. But companies without very clear long-term purpose do struggle, and they're struggling now. So once you're clear where you're going, you can mobilize your team and think about the culture you want to create, but also think about it you can frame it as what would help you to get there, what would help your team to get to your to your purpose. But on a very practical level, the most important thing is just to set aside some time and listen to your people. And it can be questions like, do they feel connected to company's purpose, values? Do they feel it's authentic for them? And also, what did they learn from last year? What was draining for them? Where were they gaining energy? How you can, do more of the things that they gain energy from? And what can you do to help? And actually, you can start with very small steps. Some companies I spoke with, they start with things like meeting call. We all know the Zoom, or Zoomathon, but also dial up gratitude to make sure people feel valued. Send little gift boxes, personalized managers cards. Just say thank you, not in a kind of generic platitude type thank you, but thank for some specific thing, but also do some fun and silly things. Find ways to laugh more as a team. And it can be, again, some teams were doing some, take a snap of yourself running, in a sort of green space, or have a competition who has the cutest dog, whatever works within your context. But these small steps, as we know, the key to behavior change, but also this small step will gradually provide an antidote to burnout.
Well, Yulia, thank you so much for sharing. I've learned a ton from this discussion. And what I'm hearing, I know so many companies really care about the well-being of their employees. And what I'm hearing from you here is that this is a systemic issue. And so therefore, companies can do something about this. And probably the most important thing is to start having a conversation with your people, and about how you can rebuild work in a different way. And it's about small steps, and have fun and laugh.
Absolutely.
Great. Yulia, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Chris.